In any army or military, there is a chain of command, and Hell Let Loose is arguably no different. With the game and how it's run being that there is a commander that runs the show, there is another part of that is a main component of that, being the officers or squad leaders. The officers and squad leaders in Hell Let Loose are the one guys that can talk to command chat but also have to keep a squad in check. These are the guys that essentially command the infantry and work to, well, get stuff done. Without these squad leaders, it makes it really hard for the commander to actually do a lot of things that they want to do. And the commander and squad leaders go really hand in hand. Without one, it's really hard to get stuff done, whether it be the commander or the squad leader. But the squad leader has a lot more to manage with up to 5 other people that they gotta talk to and manage. So in this guide, we're gonna talk about how to play Officer right. We'll start off with loadouts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I still want to glance over it. Overall, with the officer class, you get a wide array of either submachine guns or rifles at your disposal, depending on what faction you play. Some of these classes have pistols, some of them don't. It just depends on which one you're going for. But there's a wide array of weapons you have, and it's really your personal preference what you want to use. There's really a weapon for every scenario here, so just use what you need in a given scenario. That's the best advice I could give on that front. So now we've gotten through the loadouts and just talked about that just briefly, let's talk about the responsibilities, because these are the big things that you need to do while in game if you are a squad leader or officer. So the responsibilities are as follows: placing spawn points for your team and unit, giving orders to your unit, communicating with other leaders such as squad leaders, tank commanders, commander, and so on, choosing an objective to attack or defend, marking enemy positions on the map, and boosting morale of the team. So now breaking that down a little bit, kind of in order here. So at the spawn points, it means placing outposts and garrisons for your team and your unit, telling your unit what to do and where to go, communicating with other leaders to more effectively have a strategy, choosing an area to attack or defend, such as an objective or just a general area to go, marking positions on the map, whether that be tanks, infantry movements, or garrisons, and just overall being a good person and raising morale of the team and keeping spirits up. So now breaking that down just a little bit further, let's talk about spawn points. So the officer can build outposts for their squad and garrisons for the entire team. So the officer can deploy a outpost every 120 seconds or 2 minutes for their squad. And this can help them spawn every 20 seconds with the clock always running. So if maybe you die, you might see a spawn time for 13 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe even 3 seconds. You never know, because the clock is always running. But the officer can put these down every 120 seconds, provided they don't pick it back up, as you can place it down and pick it back up and move it to where you need to. But if you don't pick it up and it's destroyed, you'll have to wait 120 seconds before you can deploy a new one. Garrisons, on the other hand, are the backbone of keeping your team alive. And it's important to have as many of these as you can. You can have a maximum of 8 and make sure they're in effective locations. So these are spawn points that can allow your team to spawn every 40 seconds, and the clock is always running. To build one, you'll need either 100 supplies or 50 supplies to build one, depending on where you're at, whether that be in the blue zone or the red zone. Now let's break this down a little bit, starting with outposts. Outposts can be put anywhere in the blue zone and 2 squares in the red zone if you're playing on warfare mode, or on offensive if you are the attacking team. When it comes to garrisons, same rules apply. You can build a garrison as long as you have 50 supplies in the blue zone, provided you are 200 meters or farther away from the nearest garrison. And you need 100 supplies if you're going to build in the red zone, which we could do a couple different ways, which I'll probably get to in a little bit. Now, if we are on offensive as the defending team, if you're an officer, you cannot place an outpost or a garrison in the red zone at all. You can only build in the blue zone as a squad leader or officer, provided you are not in the recon squad, which is in another video. Now that we've discussed the different spawn points, what you can do as an officer, let's talk about how you can get the garrisons up and running. So there's at least 3 different ways to get garrisons up. One is to have the commander airdrop you supplies, which is 100 supplies per airdrop. But these are big and noticeable because they're falling out of the sky. The second way is via supply truck, which is 150 supplies per crate, and there's 2 crates. You can bring this up, but you gotta drive it around. A quick way you can get garrisons up is to have a support player. A support player can drop 50 supplies, and they can get their crate back every 5 minutes. What you can do to get maybe red zone garrisons is have people swap off. So one person drop their supplies, they swap off the class, someone else goes on, drops their supplies, and boom, you have a red zone garrison. Either way, support players are very underutilized, and if you can get people to communicate and be in your squad with this, this is the way to go, because these are the ways that you can get stealth garrisons up before the enemy even notices, and you can really turn on enemy flank. Now that we've talked about garrisons, spawn points for your team, let's move on to communication. Now, first things first, you gotta have a mic. You really need to have a mic to fully utilize your squad and at least try to communicate with them. And this goes hand in hand, you do need to have people in your squad communicating back to you. But sometimes in this game, all it takes is for one person to speak up and one or two other people will typically follow suit. Now, since my last officer guide video, there's actually been some decent improvements to the non-verbal communication side of things. People in a squad that aren't squad leaders can actually use pings on the map that are for 5 or 10 seconds and can actually say yes, no, can't do that, or engaging, observing, and actually put that, and it should be on your top left corner. So there is that. But at the very least, if you are communicating, chances are some people will at least try to cooperate even if they can't talk to you. And this is big because you need these people to actually do stuff as a squad, whether that be set up garrisons, engage enemy tanks, deal with enemy spawn points, or whatever you have to. But you have to communicate these things. That also goes hand in hand with talking to, say, command chat, relaying what's going on and what you see on the battlefield and what your squad is seeing. That way it can get up the chain, and that way the information that needs to go where it needs to go can get there. Such as maybe if a friendly tank is rolling up, you can actually tell them, hey, you got a medium tank here in sector so-and-so. I'll mark it for you. Chances are they'll probably say, understood, we'll look for him. Or, all right, hey, we see him, thank you. Just something. Another big aspect when it comes to being a squad leader or officer is to have good map situational awareness. Now, this could be shown in two different ways. One being you're knowing the map, you know the terrain, you know how to maneuver around the map, and second being what's actually happening on the map. Now, this goes back to the aspects of what objectives to attack or defend. And if you are the squad leader or officer, that responsibility, at least for the most part, falls to you. Now, in reality, everyone should be aware of what's going on around them, but the squad leader should be the one who takes that information and drives their squad with it. Too many times have we seen squads either keep attacking an objective that they shouldn't be attacking because maybe you're playing a warfare mode and the cap race is not in your team's favor. So attacking that objective in reality is a complete waste of time if you can't defend the one that you're losing faster than you're taking of the enemies. This can even be seen just simply if you're out of position, whether you're attacking or defending a point in general, or if your squad is just so far away from where they actually need to be, whether that be on attack or defense, that they just provide no true use to the team. Another big way to have good situational awareness is just seeing where your team is in general, such as where your squad leaders are, outposts, garrisons, tanks, and anything that can contribute to, well, the battle ahead. Because knowing where these people or vehicles are can help play into what you need to do as a squad lead to move your squad around to best help the team. It's not the best idea to have everyone essentially frontally attack an objective. You have to get around the objective and widen the front. And by doing this, it may help to know where other squad leads are or just how people are going to act. Typically, if you are with a bunch of random people, chances are they're going to more or less frontally attack. They're going to go right from point A to point B in the shortest distance and shortest time. Where maybe you, as a squad lead, knowing this, need to take a longer route, such as on these sides, and get around and or behind the enemy to truly exploit the frontline attack that's going on so you can sneak behind them, take out their garrisons, and inflict heavy losses. Case in point, what you're seeing here. If you looked at the map, my outpost is on that left flank of the enemy's objective. And most of my team is essentially attacking from the previous objective. By doing this again, you're widening the front and you're giving the enemy more areas that they have to watch for to actually stop your attack. And this gives you more of a chance that you'll actually break through and take the objective. To kind of simplify and combine everything you need to do as a squad lead, it's the following. A good squad lead knows when and where to attack and defend, knows where they need to go, and just in general knows what they need to do to drive their squad and be the most efficient squad in the game. If you're able to do things like support swapping for red line garrisons, knowing how to destroy enemy tanks using rocket launchers and satchels, being able to ping things out with the proper markings, then you will be good as a squad lead. And a lot of that also comes from looking at the map, knowing the sectors and how they work, and just, at the very least, communicating. If you don't know something, chances are someone else might. So don't be afraid to communicate, hey, what's this? Or have the other people in your squad help you out. Maybe check their ranks. Maybe they're more experienced than you and see what advice they can give you. You may be the squad leader, but that doesn't mean you can't lean on other people to help you. But that's what a good leader does in this game. But I hope you got something in the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.